What's going on, Vikings fans? I got one question to ask you before we dive into today's show. Do you want the Vikings to trade for Jonathan Taylor? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. And on today's show, we're going to be diving into what it would take to trade for Jonathan Taylor and if it makes sense for the Minnesota Vikings. I think the number one thing you need to talk about is the draft capital. Obviously, the Colts came out and said they at least want a first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor, so we'll be diving into that. Then secondly, you got to have money to spend. Taylor's entering his last year on his rookie contract, so he's expecting to have that contract extension. So you're going to have to consolidate some assets and extend the running back. Then also, you just got to have an RB1 spot available. You got to have that workhorse spot available because you're not going to trade for a guy and extend him to not make him the full-on workhorse running back on your team, and maybe the Vikings have a spot there. So we'll be diving into all three of those things and see if it makes sense for the Vikings to trade for the star running back. But it broke yesterday from Ian Rappaport, and he had this bombshell report. He said the Colts have given star running back Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade, and conversations to find potential landing spots are ongoing. Then it followed to say several GMs and talent evaluators were informed earlier today that Jonathan Taylor is available. So you may be saying, well, what would it cost to trade for a guy like Jonathan Taylor? That's where Stephen Holder comes into play, as he said the Colts are seeking a first-round pick or package of picks that equates to as much in a potential Jonathan Taylor trade. So it's looking like the Colts are looking for at least a first-round pick or maybe 2 seconds or some sort of sense of draft capital that ends up equating to a first-round pick. So let's look at what the Vikings could potentially offer them. If we're looking at what they can offer in the 2024 NFL Draft, obviously with the TJ Hawkinson trade, the Zadarius Smith trade, the Vikings are kind of all over the place. And they do have still their own first-round pick, second-round pick, and sixth-round pick. And then it's going to come down to if they get a fourth or a fifth. They did have that trade with the Philadelphia Eagles when they sent away or when they brought in Jalen Reagor. And if Reagor goes for more than 40 catches and 500 yards this year, the Vikings would send a fourth-round pick to Philadelphia. But if he doesn't eclipse those kind of that stat like limit and everything, the Vikings would get they would have to send a fifth-round pick and keep their own. Then they also have the Lions' fourth-round pick from the Hawkinson trade, got a fifth-round pick for the Zadarius Smith deal, and then also they do have the Chiefs' fifth-round pick. But overall, I am against trading first-round picks for running backs. Like, I'm always under the impression, like, if you're willing to spend, top-end draft capital on a running back, like, why not just go draft one? Because, you will get him out of the college with fresher legs, and you would have 4 years of him on a rookie deal. So obviously Jonathan Taylor, listen, there's no doubt he is an extremely talented player. He's one of the best running backs we have in the league. He's probably a no doubt undisputed top 5 back with other names like Saquon, McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. But there's no doubt Jonathan Taylor is extremely talented, and he had one of the better years in 2021 that I remember from the running back position. I mean, anytime you go over 1,800 yards in the modern-day NFL from the running back spot, I think that's a tremendous just accomplishment for him. I mean, averaging 5.5 yards per carry on top of that with 18 touchdowns. So listen, Jonathan Taylor, no doubt if the Vikings trade for him, he would make them a better team. But giving up a first-round pick, I don't know if I would be on board for that. So I'll ask you guys, is the price too high? Would you trade a first for Jonathan Taylor? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down in the comments section. Curious to see what you guys got to say. I'm still in the camp. I would not trade a first for JT. Now let's talk about it. Can the Vikings pay Taylor? So let's just say you're on the camp of, let's give up a first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor. Can the Vikings pay him? Because he is entering the final year of his rookie deal where, obviously he's going to be expecting that, contract extension. And a report came out that said it's going to take 2 folds. You're going to have to trade for Taylor. You're also going to have to extend him for him to agree to go to your respective franchise. And if we're taking a look at highest paid running backs in the league so far, shout out to Dalvin Cook. He actually got paid by the New York Jets at $7 million a year. But you're going to probably have to pay this guy's upward of $15 to $16 million. I feel like that's what his agent and him have kind of came to the conclusion of where their price range is at. And he's going to want that Alvin Kamara money. He's going to want that Christian McCaffrey money. And with guys like Derrick Henry, Chubb, and Aaron Jones getting around that 11, 12 million, I think that's like his floor of what he would want to get. And, the whole argument, like, does it work to pay running backs? Well, look, Aaron Jones had to take a pay cut. The Vikings cut Dalvin Cook. Josh Jacobs, he just wants to get frickin' extended, and he won't. And Saquon Barkley, he got tagged this year and had to sign another one-year deal, but he was looking for a long-term deal, and the Giants weren't willing to give that to him. So it's very skeptical and very risky to pay top-end backs. But right now, the Vikings' current cap space for this year does sit around $8.19 million. So they could, take on his contract and extend him for this year. Then if we fast forward to next year, they are set around the half, $34.2 million in available cap space. However, the Vikings do have a lot of guys they need to pay, and this is also without Kirk Cousins on the book, so keep that in mind. And then the next year, this is really when the Vikings open it all up. But they do have $155 million to spend that season. So financially, I think the Vikings could actually make this work. And in terms of draft capital, I think they could probably make this work as well. But then the Vikings do have some big-time contract extensions that are upcoming. I mean, the number one name on this is obviously Justin Jefferson. I thought he would have been extended already, but he hasn't. He's probably going to make upwards of $30 million per year. And then obviously Christian Darrisaw, his payday is coming soon. Christian Darrisaw, one of the best left tackles in the league. The Vikings are going to have to take care of their own there and get him paid. When we obviously know T.J. Hawkinson, he's entering the final year of his rookie deal. He's going to need to get paid as well. Then obviously KJ Osborne, his deal's coming up. So yes, the Vikings do have a ton of cap space next year and the year after, but they still need to figure out the quarterback for those years. You're going to have to extend Jefferson. You're going to have to extend Darrisaw. Hawk's going to want a deal, and also Osborne is going to want a deal as well. I got more thoughts on Taylor here just in a second. Let's just talk about Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is a top blank running back in the NFL. I said he's a top 5 back. Probably wouldn't go top 3. I'd probably rather have guys like C-Mac, Henry, and Saquon still over him. But let me know. Jonathan Taylor is a top blank running back in the NFL. Before we get into more thoughts, I do want to give a shout out to our proud sportsbook sponsor, BetUS. If you guys use promo code CHAT125, they will give you 125% deposit bonus. You guys go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code CHAT125. You can bet on the Minnesota Vikings to potentially win the NFC North this year. Anytime I throw up these NFC North odds, I am absolutely shocked that they are still not the favorite in this division. They won 13 games last year, ran away with the NFC North, and BetUS has them at plus 270. So you guys could go take advantage of that right now. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code CHAT125 and get your 125% deposit bonus today. So like I said, it's going to take 3 things to get this deal done. It's going to take draft capital. I think the Vikings have draft capital that they could give up. It's going to take some money to spend. You're going to need to extend Jonathan Taylor. I think the Vikings can also do that if they choose to. But then it's the RB1 spot available. And I know what you guys might be saying. Oh, the Vikings, no doubt, have a need to have a true running back 1. And yeah, I'd probably agree. If you're looking at this room right now, nobody really stands out as a true RB1. And we can focus in here on Alexander Mattison for a second, because I love Mattison. I love what he's about. He's a great locker room guy. He's great on and off the field for the Vikings. But Mattison, is he a true run RB1 where you can kind of put your team on his back and he can carry you in that run game? I think the jury is still out on that. I mean, listen, Mattison, he had to sit behind Cook the past couple years, and when he's had to fill in as a starter, he's done great. He's put up very solid numbers, and the Vikings have won majority of those games where he stepped in as the RB1. But is he a true RB1? I don't think so. But that also doesn't mean that I want to go bring in a guy like Jonathan Taylor, because the one guy I'm looking at right now is Ty Chandler. And I think the number one player that would be affected would be Ty Chandler. This would completely stunt Ty Chandler's growth. Because let's just say hypothetically, you get that notification. Vikings send a first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor, and he's your new RB1 in town. Well, that means Mattison goes to RB2. And that means Ty Chandler goes to RB3. That means the Vikings are probably cutting a guy like, Dwayne McBride, or even like a Kene Wong who could potentially get cut. So I think this would completely stunt Ty Chandler's growth, and that's the number one guy I want to see develop. Like, Ty Chandler, listen, he wasn't going to blow you away with his numbers during the preseason, but he passes the eye test. He looks elusive. He looks explosive. And even dating back to last preseason, every single time he got a carry, I was like, this guy is it. This is the guy that I want, to potentially be the future RB1 in Minnesota. So listen, I understand Jonathan Taylor, a tremendous running back, but he would really stunt Ty Chandler's growth. And his preseason stats this year in 2 games, like I said, it's not going to blow you away. He's averaging 3 yards per carry, 32.5 yards per game. And in the receiving game, I actually think he showed flashes against the Seattle Seahawks when he turned it upfield and made a couple dudes miss after catching a flat route and a comeback route. But these numbers aren't going to blow you away. But again, it's the eye test with Ty Chandler. That's what excites me so much. Like every single time he runs that football, I think he has the potential to take it to the house. And that's the best feeling to have when you're watching your own team's running back, where you're sitting there and you're like, man, he could take this to the house at any given moment. Ty Chandler's got that ability. So overall with Jonathan Taylor, and I will give a shout out to Shark Tank right now, for that reason, I am out. I am out on trading for Jonathan Taylor, even if it would be for a second-round pick. I just don't want to pay a running back that much, and I don't want to stunt Ty Chandler's growth and all. So that's why, or for that reason, I am out on trading for Jonathan Taylor. As always, guys, you guys can give me a follow on Twitter at PatSiep. So I'll make sure to put that link for you guys in the comment section and the description of today's video. Tweeting about the Vikings all year long. Make sure you guys tune in and give me a follow. See you guys next time. Let's go Vikes.